quantum depths of the poetic universe.
From the locality and entanglement, we know that information is more primary than distance, and that objects don't have to have the appearance of being near each other to be related or to cause an effect. Everything connected to everything would seem to be a perception as far as one could be had by the entanglement world. The all-at-once connections, as like in a hologram, seem to provide for the direction of what goes on in the overall information process. I am thinking like a yogi and a guru. The entire cosmos situated within me.
Quantum non-locality seems to imply that every region of space is an instant and constant contact with every other, perhaps even in time as well. And so, the wholest universe is governed by the property of a solitary whole. Thus, that could be the underlying guidance principle. An individual particle might know something about what to do, acting according to all the others, as in relationism.
Lost our consciousness and the holistic universe, each having a singular nature, could be a clue. Maybe they are of the same basis of fundamental consciousness, but separate as two manifestations, each controlling a different realm, such as internal and external. Our internal consciousness giving us future, and the external consciousness granting future to the universe. I don't know which has the tougher job. it has struck the moon, and so much does it that information's fundamental and can express itself in two ways, in consciousness and in matter.
Quantum entanglement suggests that each particle has the entire 3D or 4D map of the universe. The information ever updated, the universe being as a single entity. While this may not be consciousness at the level we have, it may help the universe accomplish something of the movements of particles and fields in their energy, mass and momentum in some global way that goes forward overall. This may not seem to be saying a whole lot in depth, but since the quantum realm is beneath everything, then one would surmise that it must have all to do with everything that goes on.
See a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour.
It is still that the apparent atoms and molecules make the happenings, the physical chemical reactions. However, this observation cannot be equated to an explanation, for we must wonder what underlies the chemical mattering and reacting that seems to have a unity of direction to it.
I had finished with the yogis and the gurus and the seers and the oracles only know of the future. So I surmise to uncover the deepness of the present, for nature and the conscious animates. I must seek out nature's great poet in her universe, in order to fully apprehend the ethereal phantasms of the entangled and enchanted branches in the forest of nature, bringing them into the light. Fortunately, I was a poet myself, and so I could gain entrance to the Elfin dell as a human, having to first pass through the neophytes, resisting their temptations and spells. However, the sensual can often take a backseat to the intellectual, although their ecstasy can be similar.
I'd been to Elfland once before, bringing my epic poem, Flora symbolica unto them, and writing up the results in Elfin legends. And so they had bid me to return one day on a quest. This was more of an ethereal world, whereas mine was often clunky, except when I dreamt at night. And it was time for me to wonder again, to ask about and better understand the quantum guidance principle, especially learning from those closer to nature, and the heavens, they being the Elfin mixture of spirit, angel beings and humans, and thus aware of the causal nexus. I flew to England, to the special forest fairy kingdom, near Galleon's old haunts, and waited for the funnel to open up into the tunnel. And then I came out into the fairy realm, and walked on for a full day, seeing no one strayed out yet, just sideward waverings, but noting many new colors, heretofore unknown, as there were more waves and frequencies here.
Dancing the spiral, we sing unaware of fairy night wings, of songs fill the air, making a circle of magic and light. Watch silent. Blessed and haunted old forest, where at the base of an oak I rest, while all about lay wondrous deep covers, and a green turf path that leads o'er grass.
life's entities embrace one another, including cells, organisms, species, and biotopes.
I was on my way again the next morning, the hours having flown by, as when Einstein had sat next to a pretty girl and had noted the much quicker passage of time over the slower passage of his instant of touching a hot stove. I learn more as I meander through the labyrinth of the forest, and met another beautiful creature. She said,
Hold me tight and love me, and I will unveil some of the poetic structure afterward.
hold me tight and love me, and I will unveil some of the poetic structure afterward. Well, 2 days went by, and she revealed more of my quest.
Living conscious creatures are as a poem, they ever revealing further dimensions and expressing new properties at every level of organization.
How so, I asked.
Stay a while.
Fire strokes, letters, forming words, phrases and sentences in a verse of rhythm. Reason, rhyme, meter, metric, and melody. This relates to the quantum. Oh.
I was hungry for the continuation of life's quantum poem. and hoped I'd be able to move onward quicker. But her allure was testing my resolve. However, she told me something very soon after we'd rubbed our cheeks together.
Meanings in life are not just discovered or gleaned by mere observation, but by understanding through participation.
I'm getting it, but I need more.
So do I. Come to me.
By the fang of the night, our hearts full of love and our arms open wide. We hold the key to the fairy's delight. The songs in our hearts, purer than the air. The words of our wisdom we bring forth to share. Our songs in the night as we dance round the flame. The fairy light songs are never the same. The words from our lips as we sing for the night.
These informationally derived meanings combine to make sense in a non-reductive process, as in the relation or reality of life happening at our semantical level of syntactical information exchange, with no breaking of any of the holistic connections. All this as the epic whole of the book of nature.
It was so still you could hear a nut fall, and the musical strain of mystic call in soft tones flowered upon the silence, as floating on the surface of the ocean.
There is the particle and there is the wave, either one forced on us by our observations, being jointly known as the wave-equal three states, of which are truly not the actual reality.
With her I had to survive the passage through the land of skulls and roses.
are no objects that are identical with themselves over time. And so the temporal sequence remains open. Nature is a possibility gestalt, with the world forming anew each moment from a deeper enfolded realm, which is a unity in the sense of an indivisible potentiality, which can realize itself in many possible ways, it not being a strict sum of the partial states.
The time of morn when the exiled rise, thrown to time's earthly bondage through the skies, being for an hour their own heavenly self, their full glory unhidden by disguise, their full glory unhidden by disguise.
It still appears to us, though, that the world consists of parts that have continued from a moment ago, and thus retain their identity in time. Yet matter really only appears secondarily as a congealed potentiality.
These forest fairies, dryads, nymphs, and fauns never flash their nude blossoms on the lawns. They beckon me along, for though the air I pass thoughts of love, verses and songs.
Stable configuration of matter, such as in the inanimate or the quantum uncertainties, are effectively statistically averaged out, this thus ever being deterministic. But in the case of the statically unstable but dynamically stable configurations, the lively features of the underlying quantum structure have a chance to surface to the macroscopic level. So they tell, more physical phenomena are made of information processes that generate overlappings of correlated multi-dimensional wave fields, which are propagating through time.
life of her face is in her deep blue eyes, soft-lipped mouth and the ears that pointed rise, as the moon and stars reflect in a pool which looked as for a lifetime for surprise.
All alone inside, all alone each night, all alone.
Lovers form before substance, relation now and before a materiality that is secondary arising, and importance, its information being primary, impressions of realizations are left in our world. By the gestalt that lives in the multidimensional spaces of quantum superposition, possibility.
I dive into her eyes, her soulful gaze, and worship before her heart's flaming grace. Miss flowers in the gardens of her dreams, and whirl back up through her eyes as her name.
There are no point masses then, but only smudged particles, such as we know of in the space field representations of the distribution of electrons in the shells of atoms, called the cloud. What remains unchanged over time are certain properties that find expression in the laws of conservation of energy, momentical charge, etc. These necessary being closer to the basis of all. He through her eyes is remains.
Every hour I feel loving our heart's truest sign. The sounds of the forest in sweet harmony. We give the gift of our song to the fairy. Dancing the spiral, we sing unaware. The fairy night wings.
At last I met the ultimate poet, the Elfin queen who told love.
There is a of relationship structure that arises not only from the manifold and the complicated interactions of imagined building blocks of matter, but also one that is substantially more inherent and holistic. As she continued, so then the weaves, warps, and woofs of the quantum bits as strokes makes for the letters of the elementals, as in the alphabet of the standard model, forming the words, as the atoms that go on to form the molecules, as the phrases on into cells as sentences, up to the paragraphs of the organisms and unto the stories of the species, via the unity of life's conscious literature, as the unified verse in which we live out our poems.
I'm left with a feeling that's no mere spell, but a fact in heaven that's fancy in hell. Of elemental Elfin, its flame deeper than thought, much older than speech can tell. Of elemental affinity's flame deeper than thought, much older than speech can tell.
Wieder unter dem gleichen Mond. Hear my song, my ivory fairy. I'm so lost in you. I'm in a love, my ivory fairy, and so lost in you.
I headed back home, this taking a few months, never stepping into the same universe twice. Funny thing, I thought they didn't use poems in what they told me, but then again they are as living poetic forms themselves.
to be, or are we second guessing? Would you stay with me if the world was ending?
The poems. We are both essence and form, as poems versed, ever unveiling this life's deeper thirsts, as new riches, from strokes, letters, phonemes, words, phrases, and sentences, universed. There is rhythm, reason, rhyme, meter, sense, metric, melody, and beauty's true pence, revealed through life's participation. From a latent whence into a sense, informationally derived meanings unify in non-reductive gleanings, in a relational reality, through the semantical life happenings, syntactical information exchange, without breaking of the holistic range, reveals the epic whole of nature's poetics, due to the requisite of ongoing change. So there's form before gloried substance, relationality before the chance of material impressions rising. Traced in our world from the Gestalt dance, all lives in the multidimensional spaces of basic superpositional traces of possibility, as like the probable cloud of distributed paces. What remains unchanged over time are all's properties that find expression, as laws, of the conservation of energy, momentum, and electric charge, unpaused. The weave of the discrete bits as strokes writes the letters of the elemental bytes, the alphabet of the standard model, forming the words as the atoms whose mites merge to form molecules, as phrases, onto proteins and cells, as sentences, up to paragraphs of organisms, and unto the stories of the species, via this concordance of literature, where the cosmos conscious adventure, as a universe of sentient poems, being both the contained and the container. A poem is both the thought and the presence, an object born from one's profoundest sense, an image of diction, feeling, and rhythm. It's both the existence and the essence.
All the temporary complexities from the eternal will someday fade away, even the universe with its grandness, dispersing its greatness into blandness. In between, the basis sets a story that gets lived by the transients within, as life and all the stars, moons, and planets, in a book from the Babel Library. The fundamental has to be partless, lest its parts be moreso and it be less, it's ever, ne'er still, else naught could happen, the vacuum field weaves the universe's dress. The simplest can't be made, it has no parts, likewise, it can't break, ne'er nothing starts. Thus, necessity, without alternative, makes the Big Bang and its transient hearts. What's fundamental has to be partless, permanent and dare remain as itself, thus, it can only form temporaries onward as rearrangements of itself. The elementaries of a type are the same, being woven by the same weave, only at the stable rungs of quanta, they can't go away, they're secondary. Are the fields spooky as non-physical? Since the elementaries are physical, and because they are outright field quanta, the quantum fields are purely physical. Change, change, change. Constant change, as fast as it can happen, the speed of light being foremost the speed of causality, or 13 billion years now, from the simple on up to the more complex. The vacuum has to jitter and sink, this base existent forced as something, due to the non-existence of nothing, if it tries to be zero, it cannot. At the indefinite quantum level, zero must be fuzzy, not definite, so it can't be zero, but has to be as that which is ever up to something. What's continuous means a field that waves, naught else, stillness is impossible. A field has a changing value everywhere, since the vacuum air has to fluctuate. The fields overlap and some interact, so there is one overall field as all, as the basis of all that is possible, of energy's base motion default. From the field points ever fluctuating, quantum field waverings have to result from points air dragging on one another. Points are bits that may form letter strokes. As sums of harmonic oscillators, fields can only form their elementaries at stable quantum energy levels, other excitation levels are virtuals. Since the quantum fields are everywhere, the elementaries, like kinks, can move to any place in the realms of the fields. As in a rope, only the quantum move. At each level of organization of temporaries in the universe, new capabilities become available, and so they take on a life of their own in addition to what gives rise to them. The Great Needle plays, stitches, winds, and paves as the strands of quantum fields webs of waves that weave the warp, weft, and woof, universed, into being's fabric of Earth's living braids. Quantum fields are the fundamental strokes whose excitations at harmonics cloaks the field quanta with stability to persist and obtain mobility. As letters of the cosmic alphabet, the elementary particles beget, combining in words to write the story of the stars, atoms, cells, and life's glory. The weave of the quantum fields as strokes writes the letters of the elemental bytes, the alphabet of the standard model, atoms then forming the stars' words whose mites merge to form molecules, as the phrases, onto proteins/cells, as verse sentences, into organisms stanza paragraphs, and to the poem stories of the species. Of this concordance of literature, we're the cosmos poetic adventure, sentient poems being unified verses, as both the contained and the container. We are both essence and form, as poems versed, ever unveiling this life's deeper thirsts, as new riches, through strokes, letters, phonemes, words, phrases, and sentences, universed. We have rhythm, reason, rhyme, meter, sense, metric, melody, and beauty's true ponce, revealed through life's participation, from the latent whence into us hence. A poem is a truth fleshed in living words, which by showing unapprehended proof lifts the veil to reveal hidden beauty, its life's image drawn in eternal truth. A poem is both the thought and the presence, an object born from one's profoundest sense, an image of diction, feeling, and rhythm. It's both the existence and the essence. Poetry makes clear what's just barely heard, for it translates soul language into words, whereas music plays right on the heartstrings. Merged, they create song. Heart and soul converge. Poems are renderings of the soul's spirit, the highest power of language and wit. The reader then translates back to spirit. If the soul responds, then a poem you've writ. Oh, those imaginings of what can't be. Such as naught, stillness, and block's decree, as well as a part, beginning, and end, responsibility, free will, and theity. From time's shores toward oblivion's worlds, the quantum vacuum fields send forth their whirls, the sea parting into base discrete swirls, unto stars and life, ephemerals pearled. When the universe ends, sparse photons left, all splendor, life, and objects will have gone the way that all temporaries must go, to oblivion. Oh, grand complexities. Only the eternal basis remains as potential for all possible books in everything's Babel repository to author another universe's story. In this lost haunt on the Orion arm of the galaxy, safe from the cause harm, the philosophers meet in the forum, as sleuth hounds unweaving the cosmic yarn. We search for the start of the universe, the end, the before, the after, the kinds, the measures, and all that lies between, the music of the sphere's Magnificat. We follow every single avenue, whether it's brightly lit or a dark alley, exploring one-ways, no-ways, and dead ends, until cornered where the truth is hiding. Since we all became of this universe, should we not ask who we are, whence we came? Inside cleft's night skirt with its radiance, the theory of everything shines through. We are ever in touch with the unknown, for that's ever the reach of science shown. Reality is grasped by focusing on what interacts with what and the means. There is a realm of happenings, not things, for things don't remain the same on time's wings. What remains through time are processes, relations between different systems. An eternal basis has to be so, for a lack of anything cannot so, forcing there to be something permanent, as partless, from which the particles grow. Consider quantum fields of waves atop one another. Waves are continuous, and so qualify as fundamental. Quantized lumps are particles, they move. Note that there is no other absolute. Newton's fixed space and time got Einstein's boot. Particle spigots making fields are mute. Classic fields have no fundamental loot. There's a likeness to elemental being, since any more would have to be of parts, and thus go beyond the fundamental uts. The vacuum puffs of energy are small. There can only be the one existence, forced, with no option for it not to be, which is no mystery because a nil cannot be, even as spaces within. There is neither full nor null, but a lightness of being near zero, as that's what the universe amounts to, nor nil's kin as still, since there's constant change. Given the equals MCC, any point that has energy can be thought of as having mass to create particles. The uncertainty principle flashes virtuals. This must be partless existence. Etern can't end, so it must remain as itself, transmuting into multiplicity of the temporary as elementaries. Since the etern has to be, of not null, supernatural magic isn't required, so, there's only the natural as the base. 1 degree of freedom is its forced default. Motion is a must, or naught would happen. It can't have parts, so it's continuous, no end. It must return to itself. There can't be anything else but it. It is everywhere, with no gaps of silch. It waves, as is ubiquitous in nature, rearranging to the elementary particles at stable rungs of quanta. only quantum fields fit the criteria, particles as spigots failed to flow, Newton's space and time disappeared via Einstein's relativity special and general. Quantum field points that must spring up and down form the field's waves by dragging on others. These sums of harmonic oscillations force the fixed quantum energy levels. So the wave estimate proves to be right, an electron/photon goes through both slits because it is a spread out field quantum. Quantum jumps cannot be wave fractionals. The universe is a large quantum field, for the 25 quantum fields interact, this containing the whole of physics. There's no God's eye view, anything happens. The anything of the massive universe is a lot of needed extravagant junk, for on Earth the right conditions obtained, our planet being where and what it has to be. Cosmic and biological evolution were forced, stars collecting the elementaries, producing all the atomic elements that went on toward molecules, cells, and more. All this took 13.5 billion years, since, again, there were no hoodoo shortcuts. Life and consciousness emerged, no mojo, since long ago on Earth they were not there. Our planet is very good at promoting life, but it is much better at extinguishing it. Of the billions upon billions of organic things, 99.99% are no longer around here living. Of all extinctions, the Permian was the worst. 245 million years ago, for 95% of species perished, suddenly disappearing from the fossil recording. Life had almost come to a total obliterationing. "Hooray," said the shrew, "now I can evolve." You were once a lucky shrew, darting all about, but then attached to a favorable evolutionary line. Every single one of your forebears on both sides being attractive enough to locate a loving mate, and they fortunately had the good health to celebrate. Our blind fated path was the further paved when disasters finished most of the species. Far from a feature of intelligent design, it opened up the space that was needed. Magic has fallen by the wayside, it has transcendence and intangible writ, unable to be distinct from matter, having to talk/walk the talk/walk of it. An extra distinct realm isn't needed, as intangible, ineffable, etc., for it only begs the question, regress, and as separate couldn't have effect. The immaterial and non-physical haven't shown anything at all to date, plus, all the more they'd have to be explained, the supernatural claim has to fail. 5 billion years ago there was no life or consciousness, and now they are both here, thus, they merged, evolving during that time, so, there's no need for any hyperphysical. Where's the esoteric among atoms? What inside their doings would be elsewise? Do molecules swirl into spooky states? What their secret patterns hidden away? The light atomic elements were banked, and the stars made more, on up through iron, and the rest were from collisions/novae. So, what unknown secrets would they contain? The God idea has fallen from its throne, forever quantum fields excitations elementary quanta roll on the fields that are everywhere and remain intact. The quantum field's unity is the whole, being ever, exhausting reality, unbreakable, and unmakeable, as partless and continuous monads. All that emerges is still the fields at heart, though secondary and temporary, arising and at some time returning, the quantum fields are indivisible. Why something? Quantum states melt via uncertainty, and this means that no quantum property can e'er be zero, a precise amount, and so it is that motion can e'er cease. The something. The quantum field is the bridge between nil and basic matter, and can ne'er be still. Thus the vacuum is the quietest field, the closest approach to nothing that can be. No null nor matter fall. Nothing had no chance to be the hero, plus QM scrubs the idea of zero out of the physical world of being, vacuum ne'er sleeps, buts air up to something. A mere blip. But for the small quantum uncertainty, the cosmos sums to naught, its lunch being free, no net electric charge, a weightless brick, minus potential equals plus kinetic. Would you your sparkle of existence spend beyond the vacuum? Quick about it, friend. A hair perhaps divides the false from true, and upon what, prithee, may all depend? That the emitting puffs of energy are small, thus, the sizes of the elemental particles are reflected in that which may have been a limit of what the vacuum energy could do. The simple hair divides the false and true, yes, and the singular leaf is the clue, as the quantum field, to the treasure house, though not adventure in the master's brew. Forget about the blame and also the fame, the great wheel's not designed in any name, since, with no beginning, it ne'er became, thus no a leaf through ye, it's the same. My spirit to the causeless was near blind, quoth I, if the beginning you could find, the leaf, of word, phrase, and universe, thou needs not the alphabet, all's been mined. Seize the moment or lose its momentum, wearing time as your royal diadem, richly accelerate life's momentous gen, letting your motto be carpe diem. World does not pass by, you pass through it, clear your being so the treasure may arrive, this spirit sparkles of a different light, the gemstones are of a different mine. Whose secret presence through transient veins running quicksilver like fuels our gains, taking all shapes from fish to moon as they change and perish all, but it remains. The best of all that is below the moon and above the fishes beauty's commune, in her wine poured and sipped, all else foregone, from mar to mahi, raptured noon to noon. The secret guest, then back behind the fold immersed of darkness round the drama old which, for the pastime of eternity, doth it all contrive, enact, and be told. Was writ each time, whatever was to be, by pen, unheeding bliss or misery, yea, writ upon each tablet universe, to murmur or resist his vanity. Outputs must have inputs, they in turning becoming inputs to more fates churning, temporary, all is writ, on every path, as in ours, so what must be will e'er spring. Morning springs thee over the wasteland's brink, and on time's sand you the oasis drink. Life's strange caravan through the desert winds, back toward nothing, drink, afore the stars sink. O unenlightened race of humankind, ye are temporary, built on empty wind. Yea, a mere nothing, hovering in the abyss, writ on water with smoke and fog, resigned. and so in vain, down on the stubborn floor of earth, and up to heaven's unopening door, you gaze today, while you are you, how then tomorrow, when you shall be you no more? O Mars quatrain turns great wheel ere whirls its energy, it having to turn and return, to be, transmuting, as ne'er still, eternally, into life's temporary pattern trees. The Etern's motion dooms forms permanence, but, the patient time till their expiration restrains for a while the shape's destructance, thus they can slowly traverse life's distance. Bounded by non-existent absolutes, the essence lies between the null and full, as relations of all that's possible, exuding universes, first begat in a bang, destined to die in a sigh. The first one is O Mars, the rest are mine, and fear not lest existence closing your account, and mine, should know the like no more. The eternal Saki from that bowl has poured millions of bubbles like us, and will pour. Yet worry you that this cosmos is the last, that the likes of us will become the past, space wandering whither whence we went after the last of us her life has spent. The eternal Saki has formed trillions of baubles like ours, for rare, the comings and passings, of which it ever emits to immerse in the universal bubbles blown and burst. So fear not that a debit close your account and mine, knowing the like no more. The eternal source from its pot has poured zillions of bubbles like ours, and will pour. What though the sky with its blue canopy doth close us in so that we cannot see, in the Etern cup-bearer's wine methinks there float a myriad bubbles like to me. So, as thus thou lives on yester's credit line, in nowhere's midst, now in this life of thine, as of its bowl our cup of brew is mixed into the state of being that's called mine. Behind the veil, being that which e'er thrives, the eternal is, has ever been alive, for that which hath no onset cannot die, nor a point from which to have any guide. All that emerges is still the fields at heart, though secondary and temporary, arising and at some time returning, there's no separation among the fields. The eternal existent fields have to be, for non-existence can't, and thus must move, for stillness can't, ere rearranging itself as stable quantum elementaries. near the flesh to the backbones of the stars, those ghosts of the suns that no longer are, they having transformed their energies waste to base atoms, more from supernovae. The message of eternity is to be, that carries on in lives led to survive, the brain's output aiming for future, conscious experience granting the focus. The literature of the cosmos. The quantum vacuum field waves are the strokes that write the elementaries' letters as the cosmic alphabet for wording of the elements and the forces that phrase the molecules' interactions unto the cell sentences that make for the lives paragraphs of the species that experience the universe's story. In a book from Babel's great library, the epic tales of the temporaries, their glorious triumphs and sad failures, amid complexity's unwinding spring.
mysteries of the universe, the very secrets of existence, were not buried in the vast cosmos, but hidden in the tiny, vibrant realm of fairyland. What if the quantum guidance principle, the idea that the universe is guided by a set of laws that apply at the smallest scales, could be understood not through complex equations, but through something as simple and beautiful as a fairy's flight? Our journey began in the heart of a magical forest in England. Here, reality was not as we knew it. Time flowed like a river, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Colors unknown to the human eye painted the landscape in hues of wonder and awe. We treaded lightly, following a path that wound through groves of ancient trees, their branches whispering secrets of the universe in the rustling leaves. In the distance, the faint sound of laughter echoed, a soft tinkling sound that filled the air with a sense of joy and wonder. Walking through the fairyland was like walking through a dream, a symphony of light and sound that stirred the soul and awakened the mind. We saw fairies darting through the air, their wings shimmering with a light that seemed to come from within. They moved with a grace and precision that seemed to defy the laws of physics, their paths tracing intricate patterns in the air. As we delved deeper into fairyland, we began to understand the quantum guidance principle in a whole new light. The fairies, it seemed, were not just creatures of magic and beauty. They were embodiments of the quantum world, their movements guided by the same laws that govern the tiniest particles in the universe. Their flight was not random, but a complex dance of cause and effect. Every flutter of their wings, every twist and turn, was determined by the interactions of countless tiny forces, each one influencing the next in a never-ending chain of events. And so, as we journeyed through fairyland, we did not just explore a magical realm of beauty and wonder. We journeyed into the heart of the quantum world, a journey that revealed the intricate tapestry of the universe itself. The quantum guidance principle, it seems, is not just a theory confined to the realm of physics. It is a fundamental aspect of our universe, as real and present as the air we breathe or the ground beneath our feet. It is a principle that guides not just the movement of tiny particles, but the flight of fairies, the flow of rivers, the growth of trees, the very heartbeat of the universe itself. And so, our journey to fairyland was not just a journey of discovery, but a journey of understanding. It was a journey that revealed the beauty and complexity of the universe, a journey that revealed the magic of the quantum world in every flutter of a fairy's wings. So next time you gaze at the night sky or marvel at the beauty of a flower, remember the quantum guidance principle. Remember that every star, every petal, every breath you take is part of a vast, intricate dance of cause and effect, a dance guided by the laws of the universe, a dance that is as beautiful and complex as the flight of a fairy in the heart of fairyland.